freedom's price. What greater love than for someone to lay down their life, give up all their tomorrows, protecting you.
Larry Cappetto, American documentary filmmaker, made Lest They Be Forgotten, and you just heard some of the music. He's been back in the Greater Toronto area to work on a new film called Beyond the Badge, Canada.
Larry Cappetto is a documentary filmmaker. His title is Beyond the Badge. He joins me right now because I told people it's about those who serve us and protect us. Is that correct?
How can we thank them enough, Stephen? For the last 11 years, I've been on an incredible journey documenting stories from American and Canadian war veterans. And having served in law enforcement, I've always had an interest in our law enforcement veterans. And my goal of being here is to thank and honor all veterans for their service to our countries, our communities, and to give them a platform to really give voice to our veterans. So as I've documented the military stories, I'm doing the same thing now with the law enforcement stories.
So is it... But you know, everybody appreciates what the police do. Everybody recognizes it's a big sacrifice. How do you make that interesting to watch? In other words, because everyone says, "Yeah, this is great. We understand that." But how do you make it interesting?
Well, I think two things. I think Hollywood is desensitized us to the reality of what life is really about. So when you talk to these veterans and they start telling you the human side of what they do, that really puts a face to it. You know, with the law enforcement veterans, it's a difficult job. It's not something everybody can do, but it's a part of our life, our society. So with the stories like I'm hearing here, the thing that's really coming forth, Stephen, is the human element in law enforcement, that these are real people. They're human beings, and like I said, they have a very difficult job to do. So to make it interesting, I'm not after the blood and guts of war or law enforcement. I'm after the personal side of how it changes them, how they transition from law enforcement into retirement, like a military veteran comes home from overseas from fighting in combat. It's a hard transition.
Oh, absolutely.
And beyond the badge.
As we cover here every day, when there's policemen or policewomen are in some situation, when they leave in the morning, they aren't always certain they're going to come home at night.
Absolutely.
And it's on everybody's mind, and it's a tough job like that. Is your film a series of interviews, or were you able to capture them on the job sometimes? Did you go in a police car? Did they stick you in the back of a police car?
Not yet, but I've been told that's going to happen.
That's going to happen? Right after this interview. I know there's a police officer
I've got a list of people wanting me to take ride-alongs. But seriously, these are first-hand accounts of what happened with these people. You know, up close, personal. History is best learned from those who were there.
Right.
And so my films it's not a cop show, but this is reality.
Me? I dealt with it for 35 years. And I guess the toughest part is when I left. I had enough. But would I do it again? Yes. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I think the toughest thing was when I left. No control. Lose it all. It's gone. No power. You don't carry your gun with you. You have nothing. They give you your shield back that says retired on it. Our association gives you the gold shield. But that's it. You have nothing. And when I left, I sat in my rec room for 2 years. I guess you could say my best friend was the bottle. It's tough. And I realized I had the problem. And I said to the big guy upstairs, I need help. 2 days later, I had a seizure, hit the floor. I had to rush to pick myself up and sit myself down. My son came down. He says, "You okay?" "Yeah." "No, you don't look good. I'm going to get Mom." "Don't. Get your mother." Mother comes down and says, "Honey, you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "No, I'm calling you an ambulance." I says, "No. Go upstairs. Give me 5 minutes. I'll call you down." That must have been the longest 5 minutes I ever had in my whole life. I had to tell them I was an alcoholic. Whew. I cried for them, not for me. But anyways.
I miss the service, being a service to the community, providing a service to the community, and I miss the people. But I don't miss the job. I think I gave my all for 31 years. I was ready to retire. It was a difficult decision, but once I made it, I knew it was the right decision. But when I see a car go by, I acknowledge them and wave, whether they know me or not. If I see a car go by with its lights and sirens, as a police leader, you always worry.
Think of your favorite dramatic movie, right? Where it made you laugh, it made you cry because what you saw was so horrific, you know, where you saw something terrible happen to a child or an individual. Remember how you felt in that movie theater where you don't want to admit it, but you saw the tears coming out of your eyes and you felt so terrible inside, right? And then you left the theater and you're like, oh, that was a great movie. For a police officer, that happens all shift, right? We picture seeing that on a daily basis for 10 hours a day, where you see the worst that human beings can do to each other. You see the images, you see the tears, you see the victims, you see the little bodies, right? You see that terrible, that just incredible evil, right? Unfortunately, it's not a movie. It's life. Doing that emergency run for that 5-month-old baby that is in distress, and you are flying to that hospital, right? To see if you can save that baby. And then getting to the hospital, waiting. You know, you could clear, but you wanna wait, right? And then finding out just 20 minutes later that you failed. You failed.
This baby had died in the crib Christmas morning. I went back downstairs because I could hear the siren from an ambulance. So I went downstairs to greet the ambulance drivers and to get them upstairs. And the mom and dad were asking me, you know, is our baby all right? I says, well, I'm sure that when these ambulance men will get here, you know, they'll look after him. I'm sure everything will be just fine. But it was quite obvious that the boy was dead. So ambulance gets there. I say I'm off duty. The copper's looking after stuff. So I continue on home. Well, when I get home, my son was just a little older than this boy. And he was old enough that he was able to crawl out of his crib. My son comes racing down the hall, screaming and yelling that Santa Claus had come to the house. So You know, I give him a good squeeze. Feels like yesterday. But I thought, you know, these parents, that Christmas morning. So even, as I say, many, many years ago, but it still causes me some grief. So.